Hi, team. If you've got a big job interview coming up, you're going to want to follow along with this video as I've got the 5 questions you're going to want to ask in that interview to help you get a better understanding of whether or not both the job and the organization are for you. With job interviews, we often think about them through the lens of the employer. Will the employer like me? Will they actually give me the job offer? But in reality, a job interview is about finding the right match, finding that right fit. As job applicants, and as we go into that interview, we're also looking to see, am I going to fit in with the organization's culture? Am I going to actually enjoy the job that I've been hired into? And will I fit in with the people here? These 5 questions are going to help ensure we at least collect the basic knowledge we need to answer those questions. Let's get into it. So the first question, I like to start off as more of a positive note. If we're going to get into some more serious questions, some questions that are going to challenge the interviewer a little bit, it's helpful to build a little bit more of a relationship. And the first thing we can do is to highlight the positives. And so what we're really doing with this first question is setting the context. That question is, what are the 3 best things about working in this organization? Not only are we starting off on a positive, but we're being very pointed in terms of the 3 best things. If we were to ask, well, what do you like about working here? That hiring manager could very easily say, well, I like the pay, I like the opportunity to make a difference, I like the benefits, I like the flexibility. At that point, we're beginning to just rattle off stuff. When we're asking about the top 3 things, now we're challenging them to take a step back and to really critique, what are those 3 best things that have kept me here? What are the 3 things that motivate me or inspire me each morning or each day to come to work? Now, conversely, you might automatically expect, well, if we're going to say the positives in the first question, then the next question is probably about the negatives. And you'd be right. But once again, we're not going to ask, well, what don't you like about working here? What are the worst things? Because that has a really strong negative connotation. Instead, we're going to be a little bit more strategic with the words we're going to use here and ask the question, what are the 3 biggest reasons employees leave the organization? Once again, we're challenging that HR professional or the organization leader to take a step back, to think about climate surveys that have been done or exit interviews, or to think about the frustrations they tend to hear or deal with in the specific role or as being an employee of the organization. This question really is helpful in starting to collect what we call a realistic job preview. In job interviews, what we tend to have is the situation where both parties are putting on their absolute best hat. They're trying to present themselves in the most positive light possible. And so as interviewees, what we're doing is talking about how much we've done and how much we love work and all these really great things. And we tend to avoid talking about other things, the issues that we face at work or the challenges we deal with. Conversely, hiring managers operate the same way. We want to present ourselves as a great organization, as a desirable workplace, as a place employees love to come to and love to be at. With that second question, now we're digging into, but what else? what else should I need to know about being an employee of this organization? Which lends itself really nicely for that third question, digging into the specific job itself. What challenges do employees who have worked in this role experience? And as a quick follow-up, and how have they handled them? How have employees who've dealt with these challenges handled them successfully or overcome these challenges? We're still staying in this realistic job preview mindset, where now we're beginning to imagine ourselves actually performing the job. And so those challenges could be anything from, well, people in this role tend to have a lot of responsibilities and they're pulled in many different directions. Or people in this role have had trouble retaining employees because it's a really challenging job. There's some demanding work conditions. It's a challenging work environment. It's a place that employees tend to view as a stepping stone. So most are only looking to be in that role for 3 to 6 months in hopes that they're going to be advanced or moving up in the organization. Question number 4 starts to get at, well, how do I become successful? And so we specifically ask, what advice do you have for whoever is hired into this role that would help them be successful? What we're doing for that hiring manager is essentially putting them in our shoes and asking them, can you think about what you would want employees to know about this job? Is there additional training they're going to need? Is it a sort of old school work environment where there are certain behaviors that can be difficult to deal with? Do managers tend to have a very authoritative approach when communicating with employees? What do I need to know as I begin to think about moving into this role? And before that, as I'm considering even potentially accepting an offer that may come. The last question is particularly important. That question being, what else do you need to know about me or from me, or would you like to know about me prior to making a hiring decision? As we go through an interview, we often have a lot of different things we want to talk about and discuss, and that time can go really quickly, especially if we're being asked interview questions we didn't anticipate, or we got into some sidebar conversations. At the same time, we might not be aware of what the hiring manager is specifically looking for. We had the job description and we included a bunch of information, but that doesn't necessarily always correspond perfectly with what that organization leader or HR professional is looking for. With this question, we're challenging them to give us that one final chance. What didn't you hear from me in this interview? Or what didn't you see from me in my application package that you wish you would have, or you wish you would have heard from me? Again, with job interviews, it's not just about that HR professional finding a warm body or finding the person they think can best do the job. In fact, we are also in the driver's seat as that job applicant. We are responsible and we should feel powerful enough to identify jobs and organizations where we think we're going to be happy and we think we're going to enjoy doing the work we're applying for. With that said, by asking these 5 questions, we're going to get the information we need to make an informed, educated decision about our future career. Hey team, if you found this video not only helpful but enjoyable, hit that like and subscribe to Time for Development button and continue investing in yourself.